What's up, guys? It is John again, and today we are, believe it or not, going to be talking about Nano Dimension. Now, I know it has been some time since I have, made any video regarding Nano Dimension. Now, you guys might not know this, but I did end up taking a full-time role at a sales position in a tech company, so that has been super lucrative for me and has kept me very busy over the last 2 years. It has been a huge blessing for me. There is uncapped earnings potential. You can work remote. It comes with benefits. So as a side note, I will say that everyone should at some point in their lives get a sales position. If you are looking for a sales position or something to get your feet wet in the tech industry as far as startups go and things like that, contact me on my Instagram and I can get back to you, as far as general direction, how to land those positions, polishing up your LinkedIn, things like that. I can definitely be a resource for you guys. For some of you, a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about is very new. Ultimately, I want this to be a learning experience for anyone, even if it's just one person out there watching this video. I'm sure this can be useful and somewhat interesting to see what exactly these guys are up to nowadays. So without further ado, let's actually talk a little bit more about some of the changes that we're noticing. But just surface level, looking at their website, the website definitely has changed since the last time I made a video about them back way when. Layout is different. We do have some more visuals. I know they were lacking back in the day as far as providing nice visuals for people to actually understand kind of what they're investing in. So one thing I did want to mention, if you guys aren't aware too, Yoav Stern actually is making videos now for Nano Dimension. So, you can get a lot of this data from the horse's mouth. Of course, we like to get people's opinions here and there about, what we're seeing in advancements. But ultimately, if you're trying to get something from them, you're definitely going to get it, I guess, the most clear and concise coming straight from Yoav Stern's mouth. He's running the company, so essentially he's going to have a lot of useful insight into, what they're doing. So right off the bat, guys, I will, just from doing a little bit of research up front here, these are actually kind of old-ish news. We're in September now practically, and this happened back in May. And then these are Q1 revenues. Of course, we're in Q2 now. And going to Yahoo Finance, we can see them with revenue figures at 14.7 million in revenue. For Q2 of 2023, and then 14.9 million in Q1 of this year. So, and they are the highest revenue figures we have seen in the company since its inception. So I think that is a good thing. So looking at the Dragonfly 4, it looks a little bit more sleek now compared to the previous generation. The Dragonfly 4 is a multi-material, multi-layer 3D printer that generates entire circuits in one step, including substrate, conductive traces, and passive components. And because of their, product offering, as they are essentially, a pioneer to this space, they have the design flexibility beyond traditional boundaries, essentially at least giving you the ability to prototype things within a small space. As opposed to, producing them in large factories with, multiple processes. So they have their transformational process. Here's an example of something they did, partnered with James, which is, someone that was early in the game as far as their partnerships. These printers are essentially factories in a box, so you are able to do all of the things that you need in-house. And, they were kind of early on, I would say, as far as implementing AI into these things. So DeepCube has definitely been beneficial to them as far as collecting data over the last 2 years. So I'm sure they have made a ton of progress there since, the last time we really covered them in detail. There's a lot that goes into making a print actually, functional, even with a 3D printer, like a normal plastic one that you're used to seeing. Even that can be a little finicky and difficult. So, having played with a 3D printer myself after buying one, I definitely appreciate what they're doing as far as the materials that they're using. So they have their Agsite silver conductive ink. They have the dielectric polymer, which is basically everything that is not the silver, which provides insulation and structure to it. And because of this, they basically can combine these things. So you have the conductive and non-conductive parts to make complex, high-performance electronics devices from anywhere. Basically, as long as you have the Dragonfly printer, you can make something. And then here we have the OG video that they've had on their website for quite some time that I'm not going to click because, it's something we have, and if you want to watch it, you could watch some previous videos of mine. Another big deal at the time was actually the nano services. So taking a look at that, I wonder, how much of the revenue has been generated from, doing 3D printing as a service, since they have that capability now. The offering they have from their services is essentially you're able to, test your devices. I mean, if you have a prototype you need ASAP, you could send your files over to them and they'll work with you to get it brought to real life. And so the process really hasn't changed since we started looking at Nano S. So essentially we have the expert, they take your design and they'll print it and ship it out to you. So something that's new here that I was not aware of, I'm not sure if you guys were aware of this, but you are actually able to shop Nano Dimension samples. So they will actually send you a 3D printed example of some of their previous successful samples that have worked, that we have seen in older videos, and they do have price tags on them. So, and these prices are justified because you're not going to find anything like this anywhere else. And again, this is what you're going to be paying to prototype your own stuff. So I think this is pretty cool. It kind of shows you the wide array of flexibility their machines have, and these are ranging from on the far left of this, $1,000 up to $5,000 for each sample. So I think that's pretty cool. So overall, what kind of industries is Nano Dimension serving at this point in time? They've got academia and research. They have aerospace and defense, which we were pretty familiar with. They have automotive solutions, the Internet of Things for consumers also, so consumer products is a big one. They are in the business of digital printing, which is kind of a new thing. I was not familiar with them actually being in digital printing, but hey, that's the part of being versatile and being diversified. I think that's a good thing. We also have industrial manufacturing, which I think has been their bread and butter aside from academia, and then medical, which has been definitely something up and coming because, again, their things are getting more accurate, higher resolutions. They can be a little more refined with making medical devices that need to be precise. So I think that's definitely a step in the right direction. So if we go to Nano Dimension's financials and just check out the income statement, we're going to see that their revenues have been growing. Their top line is increasing quarter over quarter, which is a nice thing to see. We had some dips, but I mean overall the trajectory is still up, and not a bad thing to see. Of course, no surprise that a lot of that is still going to research and development because they are in the process of improving their product offering. So they need to grow those top lines at the end of the day and try to make newer things, better things that can be marketable. So no surprise there whatsoever. SG&A is also going up, of course, since you hire more employees. You have other expenses that you need. There's overhead. A plethora of things that they need to, put their money in to operate as a business. So everything is on the rise. Their revenues are on the rise, but of course their expenses are going to follow suit. Now, despite all of this, as I mentioned earlier, they did have a profitable quarter in Q1 of this year, which was a big deal. Everyone celebrated that. I think it just kind of shows that as a business, they are capable of turning a profit if it came down to it. But I still don't think it's in their best interest to be super profitable off the bat. Of course, any business wants to be profitable, so I don't mean it in the sense that they should not try to profit. I just don't think that it's necessarily a priority off the bat right now. But at some point, they will turn a profit. Kind of like Tesla, it took like 10 years. Be patient with Nano Dimension. Now, as far as price goes, nothing has really been anything close to what we experienced back in 2020, 2021. Everything ran up and fell at that point. So the people who are essentially buyers up here, if you sold, then you got to write off some taxes, so good for you. But ultimately, I would kind of take this like a pulse, a heartbeat, if you will. And I think at some point when we see some more advancements in technology and just overall the economic landscape allows for us, especially for like big hedge funds and long-term investors to seek riskier investments, since right now it's hard to take those risky investments because of the economic climate. we're going to see this stuff pretty flat. For a lot of people, it doesn't make sense to buy Nano Dimension when you can make higher returns just owning some sovereign debt, you know, like a treasury bill. I mean, for a 10-year treasury right now, you can get 4.2% on your money, and that is essentially quote unquote guaranteed. So for a lot of people, it just makes more sense to park their money in stuff like this and wait for things to start picking back up. Right now, we're pretty much at fair value for today's market, since we're kind of sitting right in the middle of these lows and highs. We're practically in the middle. If we were to get all of these points and average them out, it's probably right about here, right in the middle. This isn't an hour chart or a 4-hour. This is not even a daily. We are looking at a weekly chart right now. So this is a very convicting chart to be looking at as far as, you know, trying to see where the market is looking. And right now that is sideways. So, I mean, at this point, it's been a while since I made a Nano Dimension video. I'm warming up into, you know, making YouTube videos again here and there. If you guys are interested in, you know, getting your feet wet and trying to get into sales, if you guys are interested in that, if I didn't mention it earlier in the video already, then message me on my Instagram socials. That's going to be John Paul Investing. Just go there and you can message me and I'll help you out. But yeah, I still think Nano Dimension's a great company. A great stock to own in your portfolio if you are, you know, willing to do the research and kind of stay up to date with them. Overall, I think they look pretty good still. They're improving their product offering. They're expanding that, and overall, they're generating more revenue. So that's something that's good to see. But anyways, remember to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you found any value in this. And make sure to hit the bell notification to make sure that you get notified when I make another video just like this one. Thanks again, and see you in the next one.